and welcome back to intplusone channel. This is Carl, and I have some really crazy news. I was not expecting this. Now, people have been speculating that a new hero was going to be announced soon. I don't think we thought that March 2nd was soon. A lot of the reports that I saw, a lot of the speculation anyway, was saying March 14th for a new hero. Now, actually, that might still end up being correct. So, just today, March 2nd, 2017, we have a new hero on the PTR called Orisa. Now, I'm actually going to be joining the PTR later this evening, and I'm going to share some gameplay footage of her abilities and talk a lot about the hero and how I think she's going to influence the meta. But right now, that's not within the scope of this video. This is just talking about the PTR patch notes for March 2nd. So let's go ahead, let's go through each individual item. I didn't give an update for the February 9th PTR changes, nor did I give an update yet for the live game changes that happened February 28th. So I'm going to be doing a video on that as well, so more cool stuff to look forward to. I'm a huge Overwatch fan, and really, this game has just been evolving and changing so much. They keep adding new heroes, new maps. This is our third new hero. And we're kind of looking at a schedule of maybe 4 heroes a year. Don't quote me on that, but given the trends, given the data, that's kind of what we can extrapolate. So let's dive into those patch notes, and thanks again for joining. Alright, so, public test region FAQ, we can skip that. Patch notes. We're going to jump right in here. New hero, Orisa. Orisa is classified as a tank, which means she's joining the ranks of Reinhardt, Roadhog, Zarya, and Winston. It's funny, I kind of forget about Winston there a bit, and I'm actually also forgetting about D.Va. D.Va's gone through some major changes, isn't as viable sometimes as she used to be, and Winston's never really been part of the meta, so I tend to forget about him. Usually what you're going to see for tanks are Reinhardt and Roadhog. That's kind of been the Season 3 meta, that's been the meta for a little while. Season 4 does look to change things up though, especially with some of the changes that have been made, in fact, actually. Alright, so new hero, Orisa, tank. Built from the scraps of the city's decommissioned OR-15 defense bots, Orisa is still learning how to optimally perform her function. What she lacks in experience, she makes up for in her steadfast dedication to keeping her city and her creator, Efi, safe from harm. Orisa is the 6th tank to join the Overwatch lineup, and much like her programming, her gameplay is engineered around protection, which is really good, actually, because we need another hero that has the ability to protect people like Reinhardt, in a sense. And she does somewhat fit that niche as well. Her main weapon is a rapid-fire fusion driver, an automatic gun with good range and accuracy even at a distance, though it comes at a cost. Orisa's movement slows down while she fires, and players will need to plan for a lengthy reload time. Her alternate fire, Halt, launches a graviton charge across the map, slowing nearby enemies as it passes, then pulling them toward it when it detonates. Now, let me talk about that paragraph just for a moment then. So, I've seen some video so far already of the fusion driver. Kotaku did a stream actually on Facebook. They might have also done it on Twitch, I'm not sure, but I happened to see it on Facebook. That gun has an incredible range. Just the normal left click or, you know, R2, whatever you want to call it. It has a lot of range. I saw on the practice range that they looked to be 30 meters away and were still hitting the practice bots. This gives this tank an unprecedented amount of range. Jeff Kaplan from the Overwatch team sort of talked about the range being similar to Zarya's secondary fire. I will be honest, I actually think it surpasses Zarya's secondary fire, and with not a lot of damage fall off, so I kind of suspect that may be adjusted. Otherwise, this character can unload into a distanced target much the same way Bastion can, but with better damage over distance than Bastion is capable of. And we'll talk a little bit about Bastion changes as they've happened recently, because not everyone's super happy about Bastion changes. Alright. Her Fortify ability boosts her personal defense, reducing damage taken and making her unstoppable for a short time. She can throw a device that creates a curved, stationary protective barrier, perfect for intercepting projectiles and shielding teammates from the front, sides, and above. Lastly, as her ultimate ability, Orisa deploys a high-powered supercharger that beams a buff to allies within its range, increasing the damage they can inflict on the opposing team. Alright, so I've watched the supercharger in motion. It basically looks like and acts like Mercy's beam, where she also increases damage to players. This is an LOS feature, we'll call it, and kind of puts that almost in the support category in the same sense that, in the same sense of something like Symmetra's shield generator. Now, with it being line of sight, it does change some things, and it is destroyable, so the enemy team can destroy it. Talking a little bit about that stationary protective barrier, this actually is not something that moves with Orisa. It is, in fact, as it says, stationary. It can be targeted much in the same way that Mei's wall can, though. For instance, point and click, and it deploys at a distance, or perhaps in front of you. Now, the shape is interesting. Of course, Reinhardt's barrier we know as being completely flat. With it being curved, actually, it gives sort of extra protection at an angle. I have not seen the numerical statistics yet for how much damage it absorbs. We all know, of course, that Reinhardt's shield absorbs 2,000 at present, and that, you know, Winston's barrier is 800. And despite Winston's barrier being 800, it does feel a lot more fragile, and has always felt a lot more fragile than Reinhardt's barrier, even though it only has a little under half the health. So I'm not sure how this is going to play out. I'm assuming and presuming it does have more than 800 HP as a shield. Couple notes, by the way, the shield does function just like those two heroes' shields, in the sense that Symmetra's secondary fire does penetrate it. Anything that would typically penetrate those kinds of shields does, in fact, for Orisa's protective barrier. Alright. We can, to learn more, we can click there. We may do that in a moment. General updates. Game browser. Players can now disable or modify abilities activated with the secondary fire button. That's kind of cool. They're going for more customization options. Honestly, that server browser is kind of a big deal. It's going to really give some overall longevity to the game. It's going to... It's going to be really... What's the word I'm looking for? The fact that you now actually gain experience for what are essentially custom games makes the mode viable. Because now there's no disincentive to play your customized modes. You still gain experience, and you can have these really cool, crazy experiences. I logged on to Overwatch a little bit the other day with my PlayStation 4 to try out the server browser. My apologies. I think it's good. I think it's brilliant. I do have some minor critiques maybe on the UI and the way that information is presented. Also on the PlayStation 4 platform, currently you cannot name your custom games. It just goes by like blah blah blah's name. And that's something that actually appears to be somehow a platform negotiation limitation. But it looks like Blizzard does expect to have that change, and I did see an update come in for the live game yesterday, so maybe that will change. Alright, hero updates. Now, if you don't know the current changes to Bastion, this might not make a lot of sense, because in the last PTR update, and then to live on February 28th, they gave Bastion an ability, it's a passive ability called Ironclad. And Ironclad reduced damage by 35% while in both recon and configuration sentry. Now, that was a really big deal. That reduces damage a lot, and people were noticing, too, that if you coupled that with Anna's Nano Boost, even if you don't, you know, even if now Nano Boost no longer gives you the speed increase, Bastion has become quite tanky. I've seen a lot of videos showing just how tanky he is and the fact that he can survive and self-heal through some rather major solo ults. So they are, it looks like, taking a position and dialing him back. This is a 15% nerf of the Ironclad ability from 35% just recently introduced. Alright, Mercy. Changes to her Caduceus staff. New recommendation card has been added, which tracks the amount of increased damage that's done when boosting another player. That's kind of cool. Most of the time, Mercy's really just getting her ult charge and stuff like that from her healing. I've noticed it doesn't really seem to carry over much from damage boost. Now, I realize that this is not talking about ult charge, but to even get recognition that you're supporting damage boosted is kind of a really big deal. I know that in the past, they've talked about having, like, multiple player play of the games in such that, like, if a play was really heavily facilitated by another player, like a Mercy damage boost or maybe like a Zarya shield or, you know, something along those lines, that the system would attempt to detect that and show you kind of like a side-by-side play of the game. Hasn't made it to life, hasn't even made it to PTR. My understanding is that it's still in an internal testing phase. Alright. Now, Zarya. Particle barrier has been changed. It no longer protects Zarya from knockback. These are things like Lucio's boop. You know, the kind of doesn't do a lot of damage, knocks him back, or something like the concussive blast by Pharah. All right, projected barrier, same deal. So whether you're protecting yourself or your buddies, you don't get not get knocked back. I think I'm saying this correctly. All right, now to bug fixes. Not a lot. General. When teleporters, shield generators, and other player-owned objects are destroyed, the kill feed now properly displays the owner's name. Interesting. I actually didn't think that that was not working as intended. I thought it was just sort of a brief, you know, this item was destroyed and whatever. But that's cool. I mean, that kind of... It's not that big of a difference. It's just a quality of life change. AI fixed a bug preventing Bastion and Torbjorn from taking a defensive position when turret abilities were disabled. I don't play against bots. Maybe some of you do. Maybe that's a big deal. I don't see that as very important. Game browser fixed a bug that would cause certain settings to appear on the custom games information screen even though they were not being used. That's a big deal, especially if you're looking for a certain game type or filtering, so fixing that is really great. Fixed an issue preventing values from the ultimate generation setting from being correctly displayed. I'm not sure which bug they're talking about. I don't know if they're talking about player side on the UI for the percentage or percentage call out to other players. I might have to get clarification on that. Heroes and maps are now sorted alphabetically under the Find Game filters in Game Browser. Quality of life change. Fixed a bug preventing Bastion self-repairability from being disabled in the custom game setting. Cool. Heroes. Fixed an issue presenting Bastion's walking animation from being triggered while self-repair was in use. I have not seen that. I'll have to check that out. I sort of imagine him just kind of shimmying along without his legs moving as he heals. McCree no longer receives credit towards his on-fire meter when his flashbang is used against May's ice wall. Interesting. I would never, it would never occur to me actually to, you know. Alright, it would never occur to me to actually do that. Alright, fixed an issue, or fixed a bug causing Reaper's shotguns and Diva's mech to appear unusually large on the map, on the main menu. I saw that actually. Someone on Reddit made a joke like, I don't know about this new Reaper buff. And he showed the big giant guns and his hands misaligned to where the actual trigger was. It's kind of funny. It looks like I also missed something. Fix an issue causing Zenyatta's feet to clip through his robe with the Sunsang skin equipped. Now, I don't see it mentioned on here. Maybe it's on the February 28th patch notes. But they actually did change Mei's waist size now with her Shang-E and Luna skins, I happen to notice, on live. So it's cool that they'll actually make these adjustments and kind of fix cosmetic issues. Although there's some cosmetic issues that Blizzard has never really addressed, that people have mentioned in the past. Still, give them time. They've actually done an amazing job with this game overall. So I don't feel like that's like negligence. It's just prioritizing, and I just think that's lower priority. All right, maps. Training bots that are destroyed in the practice range are now displayed in the kill feed. Hooray! And fixed a bug allowing more than one player to enter the practice range. I actually don't understand that. All right, cool. Let's take a step back, and we're gonna look more at Orisa. Heyo! Right, so Orisa to me actually looks kind of like a robotic minotaur. We can see her primary fire being displayed there. It is a rapid fire attack. I'm actually not sure what I just saw there as she threw down. That almost looked like a Reinhardt hammer. Let's look at that animation one more time. Okay, so that ability right there, where Reinhardt threw down his ultimate, that was this ability that keeps her stable, actually, and does not allow her to be knocked down or knocked back. So, again, abilities like Lucio or Pharah, or apparently even Reinhardt's ability. That right there is the one that I was talking about that is like Mercy's damage boost. You can see the line of sight right there. So that's what I saw a second ago. All right, let's look at her overview. So her role, of course, is tank. Orisa serves as a central anchor of her team. And actually, apparently her code name was Ancora, which was actually leaked months ago on 4chan, of all places. We knew that it was going to be a West African accent. That was actually correct as well. So that leak actually appears to be legitimate. Now, there were some other things that were slightly wrong, but we don't know if those were just changes in development or if that was actually incorrect information. All right, so talking about her, the rest of her blurb here. Orisa serves as a central anchor of her team and defends her teammates from the front line with a protective barrier. She can attack from a long range, fortify her own defenses, launch graviton charges to slow and move enemies, and deploy a supercharger to boost the damage output of multiple allies at once. We see the ability breakdown, fusion driver, fortify, halt, protective barrier, and supercharger. And of course, we don't actually have like any of the metrics, any of the numbers, any of the nitty-gritty stuff that people like me like to eat up and like, oh, what is her DPS value? On here, for instance, it doesn't mention that she has a total of 400 health, and I know that only because I watched it live. But that's something to know. That's actually, well, you know, that's not necessarily low for a tank, but it is the lower end for tanks, for sure. You know, with Winston's overall health being higher. Yeah. That's really it. That's what I have for you right now. She is live and playable right now on the PTR on PC. I am going to be playing her on the PTR later this evening. I have just today acquired the PC version, so I'm no longer the console peasant, and I've joined the PC master race. That was 3 quotes. How does that work? Anyway, I want to thank you so much for watching. I would love to know your comments, your thoughts. I've been wanting to make videos actually about the new hero ever since I first heard the rumors like a week and a half ago. This has been an incredibly quick ARG. In fact, it really hasn't been an ARG. For those who don't know, ARG is alternate reality game. This is kind of where we get little snippets of information about a hero prior to release. It's kind of like a series of successive teaser trailers presented in multiple media. Some were tweets, Blizzard tweets, some were video, some were images, and now we have this robot Minotaur of Doom reppin' Numbani. Actually having similar colors to Lucio, now that I think about it, or at least in the base skin. I'm really curious to see some of the other skins because I have not seen those yet. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to be doing more sequences like these. I do these as time permits. Time does not permitted me. So with that said, I'll see you next time, and hey, let's keep doing the thing. Later.